Good morning. My name is Barbara McCullough, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm an elderly white woman dressed today in a blue and black striped jacket. So, welcome to First Unitarian Church, where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We welcome you in your brokenness and in your wholeness. No matter who you have been, who you are, or who you are becoming, we greet you today with love. A special welcome to you if you are new to the church. Today's service is part of a special series of summer services. Members of our church congregation design and lead these services, so you'll see a variety of topics and people during these summer services. Our customary services start again on August 10th, when our new full-time minister, Reverend Dr. Kent Doss, will be here. We're happy to keep you informed about the First Unitarian Church. If you're here in person, you can find a card at the back of the sanctuary where you can share contact information so you can receive our email newsletter. And if you're online, you can find a similar form under Newcomers on the website. We're happy to have all our friends, new and old, who are watching us on YouTube this morning. Please introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're joining us from. As an announcement, the beautiful flowers are given today to celebrate Jap and Nancy Blankenship, both being 90 this year. This Pentecost Sunday, we welcome back Reverend Dr. Celeste Labak to the pulpit, our affiliated community minister who resides in Tulsa. She is an internal family systems practitioner, spiritual director, chaplain, and storyteller whose roots stretch deep into Oklahoma City soil. This sanctuary holds threads of her journey, the echoes of her candidating sermon, the honoring of her father's life, and the quiet return of someone who once called Oklahoma City her childhood home. She will be offering a message this morning and a children's story she has written as well. We are so glad to have you with us. So welcome again to First Unitarian OKC. And now the prelude prepares us for worship. In lighting our chalice, we connect ourselves with many different people, the many Unitarian Universalists across space and time who also light or have lit the chalice, our spiritual ancestors with their dreams, good deeds, and even their failings. We light our chalice in Midtown Oklahoma City on land that was home to first Americans, including the Apache, Caddo, and Wichita, on land that was taken from the Muskogee and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. We light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope. We will say it's lit.
You know, they say at a wedding there has to be at least one thing that goes wrong, right? In a service, I don't know, it's like 3, maybe. It's okay. So I want to share some opening words with you to get us grounded in our service for today. Holy and beautiful the custom which brings us together in the presence of the Most High, to face our ideals, to remember our loved ones in absence, to give thanks, to make confession, to offer forgiveness, to be enlightened, and to be strengthened. Through this quiet hour breathes the worship of ages, the cathedral music of history. 3 unseen guests attend: faith, hope, and love. Let all our hearts prepare them room.
At this time, we would like for you to share your welcome with each other. So you're invited to greet those near you. And when you hear the music for opening hymn from the Teal Hymnal 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, we'll join together and sing. So feel free to go greet.
Thank you.
Every Sunday, we take an offering. Since 2002, all the cash and designated checks from that offering have gone directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work, our Change for Change partners. The Change for Change partner this month is Hope for the Future, a 501c3 organization that provides a safe, welcoming, home-like setting where children in foster care engage in court-ordered, supervised visitations and stay connected with their families while fostering hope, healing, and meaningful relationships. At Hope for the Future, the ultimate goal is to support the children and families they serve on their journey to reunite, once safety and stability are assured. Through quality services and compassionate care, they aim to strengthen family bonds and empower each member to move forward with confidence. They see themselves as a vital piece of the puzzle, working alongside community partners, organizations, and individuals to offer families the tools they need to heal and thrive. Together, they strive to build hope and resilience for those they serve. The funds will enhance the lives of the families Hope serves. Hope will provide such things as access to basic necessities, celebrations and special events, Thanksgiving meals, family-oriented activities, games or outdoor activity games, and sustaining operations. For those of you who are in the sanctuary with us today, in just a moment, we'll be passing the offering plate. And if you're watching us online, please make your gift by sending a check to First Unitarian, just write Change for Change in the memo line, or make an online payment through our website, oneuc.org.
This is the time in the service where we have listed a story. It doesn't say children's story because all of our children were at Chalice Camp, well, many of them were at Chalice Camp last week, and they don't typically do the Sunday morning service. So I need some voluntary children and the ones who are actually here to please raise their hands. Okay, fabulous, thank you. This is a story that I wrote, and this is the first time that I've actually read it publicly, so here you go, a new story. It's called Lyla and the Legend. Lyla was a young fox who loved stories. Not just any story, the story, the one her grandmother told every night by the fire. It was called The Legend. In the legend, there was a fox who lived long ago who saved the forest. She was brave and strong and always right. She never cried, she never got lost, and never asked questions. She just knew. Lyla loved the part where the fox roared and the mountains listened. She would whisper the lines to herself when she felt really small. Be bold, be silent, be sure. But one night, as grandmother tucked her in, Lyla asked, "Did the fox ever get scared?" Grandmother blinked. "No, dear, she was the hero." And then she paused. "Why do you ask?" Lyla shrugged. "I don't know, I just wondered." The next morning, Lyla walked through the woods, the story swirling in her head. She tried to walk boldly like the fox in the tale, but the wind was loud and her paws were cold, and she didn't feel very bold. She felt pretty small. At the edge of the forest, Lyla met an armadillo scribbling in the dirt. "What are you writing?" she asked. "My own legend," said the armadillo. "One that shows that I'm more than my hard exterior, and one with questions in it." "Questions?" Lyla frowned. "I thought heroes had to know everything." The armadillo chuckled. "Maybe the real heroes are the ones brave enough to not know." Further along the path, she met a crow weaving shiny things into a nest. "Is that part of your story?" Lyla asked. "Yep," said the crow. "Every shiny, broken thing I've ever carried." "But legends are supposed to be clean and clear," Lyla said. The crow cawed. "Ha! Maybe the mess is the most important part." That night, Lyla sat under the stars and thought of the armadillo and the crow. She thought of all the times she felt unsure or too tender or full of questions. What if that wasn't weakness? What if that was the beginning of a story, her legend, the one where she could include all of who she was? So she picked up a stick and started drawing in the dirt. A fox with big ears for listening, a heart open to wonder, and a path, not straight, but winding, just like the one she was on. Not long after, when grandmother called her back to the house, Lyla asked, "Will you tell me the legend tonight?" Grandmother nodded. "And maybe," Lyla added softly, "I could tell you one too." Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is listen to your own story and be willing to include all the parts.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds so white, bright blessed day and dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you." I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn so much more than I could ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I have friends and neighbors, family I chose, standing beside me at curtain close. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Indeed. May this sanctuary remind us of that wonderful world. Please join me in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of breath and being, in this moment we turn inward, not to escape the world, but to make more room for it. Room for the ache of uncertainty. Room for the beauty that still insists on blooming. Room for the questions that echo quietly beneath our days. In this place, in this moment, we choose stillness. Not as an answer, but as an act of courage. We choose to remember the soft places, the touch of a friend who listens, the weight of rain on skin, the way laughter surprises us, no matter how long it's been. In a world that often asks us to harden, may we choose to stay open, to choose kindness as our universal password, to choose truth that humbles over silence that numbs, to choose to remain awake to what is painful as well as what is possible. Let this be a place, if only for a breath, be where we are enough, where no performance is needed, where your whole self can breathe without shrinking. May we find in this stillness a whisper of clarity, a glimmer of connection to those sharing this space with us, a thread strong enough to hold us as we move again into the living world. These and the prayers of our hearts we offer up now in the silence. Amen. Blessed be.
When Reverend LeBach and I discussed preparation for today's service, she asked me if there were tales that my family would always share about me. I was slow with an answer because I realized there was basically only one recurring story I could remember my parents telling about me. So here is my story. The tale begins 80 years ago. My parents and I are the characters, with my brother Bob as a supporting actor. First to note, I have always treasured my family, and I lived a great childhood in a mid-sized town in the heart of Kansas. That's all true. I was the youngest of 3 children in my family. My brothers and I were all born on May the 6th in different years. I never knew my oldest brother because at the age of 5, he was fatally injured by a truck as he was crossing the highway in front of my parents' house. I was born a year later, even as my parents were still suffering the loss of their eldest child. Perhaps somehow tied to the tragic loss of my brother, my parents grew more adamant in their expected idea of perfection for me in whatever I did. To a lesser degree, my surviving brother experienced some of the same types of expectations. The pressure grew over time with each success, and it became ongoing, and to me it seemed immense. Mom's motto in life was, anything worth doing is worth doing well. I know some of you have heard that. There really was an expectation that my brother and I would just be the best. It encompassed everything from schoolwork to piano, grooming to behavior, dance performances to roller skating in a traveling club that did skating routines. It just became a norm, the story of my life. If things were not perfect, there was disappointment and questions, not the, oh, you'll do better next time assurance. Instead, there was the expectation that, of course, the next time would be exemplary. If I try to recall stories that my parents would tell about me to others, those stories were always about my wonderful successes, that I was such a great student, that I was going to be a concert pianist someday, I showed them, that I won the county spelling bee, that I was a great skater in the roller skating club, that I was valedictorian in my high school class, on and on. I guess I was a living legend in their minds, and I came to depend on this adoration. Their expectations of perfection continued to reach into my adult life, even including getting the correct choice of a husband, the frequency and length of coming home to visit, and care for my mom after my dad passed. As years have gone by, and the pressure for perfection has quietly continued in my mind, the question I now ask myself is, Who is telling the story? Who is telling the legend? Am I now the narrator? My parents and brother are gone. Am I able to gain some new perspective? So, as you know, I just turned 80 recently, and I still sometimes feel the need to be perfect. Through all these years, I have known that I am not perfect, but down deep, I have felt the need to try. I now accept that there's no such thing as perfection, and this knowledge does give me peace of mind when the perfection monster gnarls at me. Consider, though, the legend has lived a lifetime. That's a long time. My happy ending to the story includes each of you. Our church has given me a safe place where I can play the piano or sing in the choir. I can speak to you from my heart, and I'm not afraid of failing. You bring such love and inclusion that I know it's okay when I'm not perfect. Hopefully, I'm finally putting the legend to rest, and I'm writing my own with all the parts included. Okay, thank you. At this time, Marcia Woodward has a special award presentation.
We're going to talk about another living legend. I'm Marcia Woodward, immediate past president, pronouns she, hers. I'm an old lady with gray hair and a very bright green and yellow outfit. It is my honor to present today the Member of the Year Award to LaDonna Hunt. We're going to make her stand here so she can look embarrassed and be mad at me. So I thought about doing this as a roast. It was an intriguing idea, but no. Just stand there and turn red, okay? We have talked this year a lot about putting love at the center. That's what you are doing nowadays. If you ever had thoughts like, what does that really mean? And how do you do it? Just hang around with LaDonna for a while and you'll understand. LaDonna has been a stalwart member of the congregation for 16 years and has contributed in a lot of ways over those years. But this year, we especially want to honor her for her contribution to the beauty of our services as director of the Bell Choir, and for her contribution to the well-being of those she interacted with in the Bell Choir and the rest of the congregation. So because she's stepping down after this summer as director of the Bell Choir, this is an opportune moment to give her the recognition that she deserves. When LaDonna put the Bell Choir together after COVID, it was the first time there had been a regular Bell Choir with weekly rehearsals and regular performances. And we were a ragtag bunch of people, many of whom had never touched a bell before. So we needed help. And not to mention the strong and quirky personalities that had to be blended. So LaDonna was able to somehow shape us into a pretty decent bell choir over the last few years. And with her musical talent, her directing skills, her warm encouragement, her sense of humor, and especially her immense patience. She spent many days going through piles of music to figure out which would be the best for us to perform, and added to them creatively different things so we could just find the best way to perform them. She took us to workshops so we could learn and improve. She even got us some outside gigs. So I asked the bell choir members to send me their thoughts about why LaDonna is so special. And here are some of the things they talked about. Okay, now you're really going to turn that. Her steady presence, even in the face of rowdy and mutinous behavior. Quote, LaDonna has been our rock. Her ability to laugh at herself and at us. She never takes herself too seriously, and we learned from her how to do that ourselves. Directing with loving kindness yet firmness. She was good-natured when we made mistakes and always encouraging. Her favorite saying was, when we really screwed up, was, "I know you can do this." Right? And you did. Sometimes. And another quote, she believes in us when we don't believe in ourselves. That's a nice one. She was completely reliable and present, no matter how tired or frazzled she might have been from events in her personal life, like moving recently and family responsibilities. They never got in the way. She was so gentle and wise in helping to resolve interpersonal problems, interpersonal issues. One person summed it up this way: she makes us feel wanted and welcome. She is a wonderful ambassador for all that is good about our church. So, LaDonna, we will miss you.
I will miss you. May I say something?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
We have several things for you. A plaque. And a certificate.
Wow.
And some flowers. And we all take
When I received a call the other evening, I was quite sure they had the wrong number. I really don't know how to thank you. This is an honor I never in my wildest dreams ever thought of. But I know this, that it takes more than one person to make what we did with the bell choir. The bell choir is the most fun group I have ever worked with. I just must say, the night after the election, they came in very sober and somber and tired. And then we started playing, and I thought, Lord, they're loud. And what I discovered is that they were taking their frustration out on the bells. When I think about the number of people involved, I ran through at least 20 people who have in some way or another, and I'm sure there's more than that, who helped in some way as substitutes. And the members of the choir would call when they couldn't be there. they're just a tremendous group of people and responsible. Who wouldn't love them? Who couldn't be successful with a group like that? I'd like there was 11 of us who went to the Village on the Park and gave our first concert. Would those people stand up that are here, Bell Choir members? Now, come on. There you go. And then there's always moving the equipment. And Ellie, where are you? I don't know. Wednesday night, she would say, just leave the tables, I'll get them up by Sunday. And sure enough, there they were. This is, without doubt, the best bell choir I have ever worked with. The best group of people I have ever worked with. As Jean, as a United Methodist minister, we'd move around a few times, you know, and there was bell choirs that always needed somebody to direct. And I think I learned a lot on how to do this here through the different, thank you, Jean, I appreciate that. In terms of my family, they called me and told me that I could have my family here, but let me share with you where they are. There's one that moved to El Paso, Texas this weekend, and 2 of them are flying back as I speak. They're somewhere up in the air. 2 of them are in Tennessee enjoying a vacation, and I have one granddaughter in the hospital. So my family is here even though they're not here. Oh, Scott and Thomas, my great-grandson, and Kylie, you 2-3 stand up. And they have been incredibly beneficial and helpful. They've stayed with Jean a few times, and well, you name it. They're there. So thank you. Thank you. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you.
Good morning. Happy Pride. I will tell you, I want you to get a good look at this thing because I don't think I've ever preached in it. I've just worn it to a parade, and you can imagine wool on a parade day in Oklahoma. But this was knit for me, knit for me by a beloved congregant at West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church in Rocky River, Ohio, where I spent some time. It is so wonderful to be here with you and have a voice. For those of you who know that the last time I was scheduled to preach, I had gotten sick very quickly and lost my voice, and so Reverend Johnstone had to step in at the last minute and pull out an oldie but a goodie. So thank you for that. But it's wonderful to be here and to see so many familiar faces. So today I am talking about legends. Stories that we were handed even before we had language. Stories we were born into. Some spoken out loud and some absorbed, like the weather, steady, invisible, shaping everything. And in Oklahoma, of course, we know something about weather. We have a saying, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. Because here, change doesn't always come slowly. It can also be sudden and loud and electric and disorienting. Just last week in Tulsa, a rare superbolt lit up the sky, an atmospheric phenomenon powerful enough to be seen from space. Some stories land like that. Totally unexpected, cracking open what we thought we knew. Other stories build like thunder, steady and rolling and shaking us awake. And yes, we're all still recovering from the last few minutes of a thunder game. But there are stories as well that teach us what strength looks like, what love requires, what it means to be good, to belong, to be worthy of care. These may come from family or faith or school or even our nation. They come dressed as legends, but they live in us, in our young bodies, especially as operating instructions. Some of these stories serve us well for a time. They give structure, purpose, a sense of place, but others very quickly become too small, too sharp, and eventually, if we're paying attention, we start to ask, similarly to Barbara, who wrote this story and why? Does it resonate with my experience, and do I want to keep living in it? It's no small thing, though, to question a legend, especially when it brought you praise or protection or love. But the best stories are the ones spacious enough to include us as we truly are. Legends that are held in relationship, not taken as the only story. Those are the ones that can grow with us and guide us well. Now, there's a particular ache that comes when the story you were once proud to carry begins to pinch some at the seams. When the map you've been using no longer fits the terrain of your life. When the meanings once assigned with confidence now feel hollow or too simple. When I knew that I needed to step outside of my role as associate minister at All Souls in Tulsa, it was one of the most quietly disorienting seasons of my life. I had a small child, who, by the way, is no longer small. She's 15 and chose to come down today. Can I just say that again? She chose to come down today. I had landed an incredible opportunity at All Souls, a position that many people would hold on to. And I had served there for nearly 8 years by the time I began discerning a shift. But something inside of me had shifted. The role that had once felt like home had started to feel too small. And yet, it was the associate ministry position at the largest Unitarian Universalist church in the country. How could that possibly feel too small? And, as I was asked over and over again, leave to do what? There was no clear next step for me. I just knew that staying meant something essential in me would begin to disappear. But that knowing didn't silence the fear. Some parts of me questioned whether I could still even call myself a minister if the next chapter didn't fit the traditional model. Other parts of me were terrified I was just being ungrateful, that I didn't appreciate what I had, or worse, that I was abandoning a kind of vocational stability that so many others never got a chance to reach. I had privilege, I had security, and I had community. Who was I to walk away? But everything for me came down to intention. I had to do the deep dive. Was I fleeing comfort? Or was I honoring a deeper truth about what no longer fit? Could I stay and contort myself to make it work? And if so, what was the cost? It was the beginning of a long season of unlearning for me, of letting go not only of a job title, but of the legend I had absorbed about what a minister was even supposed to be. We don't always know what to do when we outgrow a legend. Some of us double down and may even recite the legend louder as if repetition might make it true again. Some of us go silent. Some walk away from the story altogether, wandering without a new one to hold. Some begin trembling, beautiful work of listening inward, not for the next legend, but for our own voice. And so before we go any further, I want to invite you to pause just for a moment, to close your eyes if you'd like, to let your breath drop into your body. And see if you can recall a story that you were handed early in life about who you needed to be in order to belong. About what made someone lovable or good or worthy. And now just gently ask yourself, does that story still fit? Does it align with your values now? Does it still lead you where you want to go? And when you're ready, you can come back into the space. It is this point where the personal meets the collective, where your story joins a greater current. And it is that moment, the one where we begin to listen differently and speak more honestly, both on the inside and on the out. That's what Pentecost is all about. Now, I know that UUs don't typically celebrate Pentecost, but it happens to be one of my favorite liturgical Sundays, and totally happenstance that I picked this day to preach, by the way. But for those unfamiliar, Pentecost is the story of a very bewildered and hopeful group of people gathered after the loss of their teacher, unsure of what is actually coming next. And then something like the wind, but also something like fire, moves through the room. And suddenly, people begin to speak from the heart. And somehow, across all of their cultural and linguistic differences, they understand each other. It wasn't a miracle of sameness. It was a miracle of resonance, of multiplicity, of vulnerability. A surprising moment in the Christian scriptures where diversity wasn't erased or demonized, but actually honored as sacred. That, to me, is spiritual growth. Not a tightening of meaning, but a widening. Not an erasing of old stories, but an unfolding of new ones. A holy disorientation that makes space for difference and questions. I've often thought that so much can be boiled down to a single existential question. Do we believe people are inherently good or inherently bad? We shape our whole lives around it in some way. It's like behind in the current. And I want to say that even if I'm only 51% right during this time, I would still rather lean toward trust and goodness and toward being the light in a situation where we're not sure. But maybe the better response between that inherently good or inherently bad is to step out of the polarity entirely and recognize that we all hold both. We each carry the capacity for deep compassion and connection, and we also carry the capacity to cause harm, intentionally or not. When we rewrite our story to be less about two-dimensional heroes and villains and more about the whole truth of our complexity, it becomes much easier to see others that way too. I've been working on a model of spiritual development that reflects this kind of movement from rigidity to complexity, from false certainty to honest integration. And I've markered them with some metaphors. It begins in the garden, a stage of innocence and inherited belief, this might sound familiar to you, where faith is about safety and we follow the legend, the one handed to us like the key on the corner of a map. It tells us what everything means. But here's the thing, whether the legend is printed on a map or whispered through generations, it's not the same as the territory that it's mapping. It's a guide, a key, and eventually we have to step off the page and walk the path ourselves. In the next phase, we enter the tower, where those meanings harden. We cling to them as truth, as good or bad, right or wrong. The legend becomes more about our own identity. But eventually, life disrupts that clarity, and then we fall into the wilderness. And the wilderness is where the terrain no longer matches the map, and the old legend can't even explain the path ahead. But if we stay open, we reach the well, a turning inward. We begin to write our own meanings. We draw from our own depth. We realize that the legends we absorbed growing up aren't the territory itself, only an attempt to make sense of it. And slowly, we begin to see with our own eyes. From there, some move toward the veil, where the sacred reveals itself in everything, not as a story told about us, but as something unfolding within us. And then the last stage is the feast, where we don't just read the map, we become the landscape. The legend dissolves, the map dissolves, and the presence remains. This is not an easy journey. It is not linear, and it does not come with a clean new map. But it offers something even more powerful if you're willing to go on the journey, and it's freedom. Not the freedom of self-sufficiency or invincibility, but the freedom of inner alignment, of integrity, of living from the inside out, of letting what is sacred speak in your own voice. I want to speak tenderly now to those who carry a legend of perfection, that internalized voice who says, if I just do everything right, I'll be loved. If I never make a mistake, I'll never be left. If I meet the expectations, I will finally be enough. Perfectionism is a dominant white culture construct that you do not have to participate in. It's also a heavy legend to carry. It glitters on the outside and burns on the inside. And it often begins in love and parents who want the best for us and communities that taught discipline as devotion, even when offered with good intention. As support or protection, though, the impact still denies our humanity. They are still stories, and stories can be rewritten. So you are not failing when you begin to question the legend. You're growing. You are not betraying your people when you tell a fuller version of your truth. You are honoring your soul. The impulse to seek justice actually begins here too, I believe, in questioning inherited maps, in widening our story, in allowing new symbols to be added to the legend, symbols for listening and softness and ambiguity and shared power. Sometimes justice also means not just shifting our personal stories, but telling the truth in public ones. Just this week in Tulsa, something long overdue happened. The mayor formally acknowledged that financial reparations should be part of the city's response to the 1921 race massacre. For over a century, the story of Greenwood, the thriving Black community destroyed by racial terror, was erased, minimized, or mischaracterized. Survivors were left to carry the truth in whispers, while the city maintained a legend of denial. But the legend is changing, slowly, imperfectly. The public map is being redrawn to include voices once silenced. That, too, is Pentecost work. The Spirit speaking through many tongues, many truths, calling us all toward repair. And tonight, of course, is game 2. May the thunder roll just a little more in our favor. And so I leave you with this. What story are you living in? Is it one that you choose or one you inherited? And if no longer leads you where love is calling you to go, are you willing to set it down and begin again? The map may not be clear, the path is definitely not straight, but your legend is still unfolding. And you, my friends, are the sacred ones who get to write it. Amen, and blessed be. Would you join me in our closing hymn, which is absolutely apropos. I don't know if you know this Peter Mayer hymn in our teal hymnal 1064, but Peter Mayer, who actually sang at my ordination, which was an amazing thing, rewrote a very, very common hymn into Blue Boat Home, and I hope that you will enjoy this and sing it with us. 1064.
After the service, we have the General Assembly meeting here in the sanctuary. We really need everybody that can vote or is interested to come. And if you have any questions, you can ask Sandra or any of the board members if you're not sure what it is. So we extinguish our chalice flame, but not the light of love and community which burns in our hearts.
Go in peace. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born to you of gratitude and of hope. May you use those gifts that you've received and pass on the love that's been given to you. May you be contented knowing that you indeed are a child of God. Let this presence settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing and dance and praise and love. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.